subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Hello and welcome to Health Live at Seniors Today. We wish you all a very happy and healthy New Year. We were running this montage just before I came in on the screen, and we had the various doctors who have been here. And I was just wondering whether we could have just had at least 2 or 3 screens with our specialist this evening, Dr. Monika Dass, because she's been here, and I counted. She's been here 12 times in the past. So this is, your 13th session with the Seniors Today, ma'am. How are you? How do you feel?
Very well, thank you, and a happy New Year to you.
Thank you very much, and same to you. So what's your view about this 13th session? You've been the highest number of sessions amongst all specialists. Of course, I must qualify that we were running a counseling forum for a few months when we felt that it was needed. So your view about your Seniors Today journey?
Well, I'm privileged. I'm happy that you call me back from time to time. It gives me food for thought. I hope I've been of help and I've been able to give some ideas in the past, and I hope to be able to do the same this evening. I look forward to interacting with the audience.
Thank you. Of course, it's also an indicator, and we do take feedback from our from regulars who are here, and a lot of people write in, and they obviously want a session by you, and it also indicates that there is a need for psychological counseling in this field. But before we continue further, I need to do an introduction, and which I know Dr. Das this is against the idea, because I've done it 12 times in the past. So, but to many who are here for the first time, Dr. Monika Das is a chartered psychologist, a chartered scientist, and an associate fellow of the British Psychological Society. Professionally, she has counseled over 15,000 individuals in a span of 2 decades and has published several papers in both national and international journals. A trained pianist and a vocalist from the Trinity College of London, Trinity College of Music in London, Dr. Das has influenced many lives with the joyful learning of music. She's been actively involved in several popular musicals such as The Sound of Music, Joseph and His Amazing Technicolour Dreamcoat, and so on, with her expertise in developing children through drama. She firmly believes that any extracurricular activity can help tap into one's potential and bring out the best in an individual. Welcome to Health Live at Seniors Today once again, Dr. Das, and over to you. When we discussed with you, invited you to come here, and this is the first session of the year. And I thought it would be a good idea to look at how people can have a happy New Year ahead, and in the true sense. And perhaps what you could offer is some amount of advice as to how people can achieve that. So over to you.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so good evening and welcome to the start of a brand new year. There are a few things that I'm going to cover. One is new resolutions, changing yourself, your approach, and making life more meaningful and happier for yourselves.
Can I interrupt for a minute?
Yes.
What you had asked me to do, we could not do it because our technology doesn't allow it. So those of you who are here, if you'd like, you could pause for a minute, and please get a sheet of paper and a pen or a pencil with you. If you can do that, then I would request Dr. Das to start with the presentation then. I just forgot, sorry.
No problem. So if you look at some of the images here, a New Year's resolution is something that goes in one year and comes out the other. we make several resolutions, and we've done so in the past where we've made a list. And basically, every new year, this is the wonderful thing about human beings, is that we start off afresh. You know, there's this excitement to do something challenging, to do something new, to go beyond, ourselves from the previous year, or to perhaps, improve our health, improve certain circumstances, depending on where we are at this point of, at what stage we are at this point of time. And there are several resolutions that one can make at this, after 60. For example, it's your sleep hygiene. You can find a hobby, developing and improving your relationships, music, listening to more music, decluttering your home, learning new breathing techniques, pranayama, having a schedule every day, a meditation schedule, reducing negative self-talk, very important one. Taking up yoga or anything like this, and creating a 5-year plan. And this creating a 5-year plan is an extremely important aspect for us to be doing at this point of time. Those of us who have managed to get out of debt or are in debt, we need to start clearing up things. So this is something else that you really need to start looking at. Learning to save money, spending money on yourself and going on a trip, reduce things in the house in terms of, in terms of consumption. We don't need as much as we did perhaps when we were younger. Making more time for the family and spending meaningful time, making life enjoyable for us. When I over here, I don't think this applies to many of us, but finding a better job in terms of perhaps giving your time as a volunteer somewhere would be something ideal for this new year, if that's something you've not done. Helping out others. You'll be amazed with how much of time we spend actually talking and helping friends out. And that, in a way, is a deep level of counseling that goes on, although we don't realize it. Those of us who want to lose weight or quit smoking or quit drinking, this is the time to start. So my point over here today is not to make resolutions for the year. Rather than that, it's better to create habits. And none of us can create too many good habits at one time. So if you take up just one or two things which you want to challenge yourself with and improve yourself with, rather than making a resolution and saying, these are the things I want to do, I'm going to go ahead. You change a habit for a lifetime, and that's very important. So the first area which we would look at in terms of helping yourself this year is health, which is very important after the age of 60. So in terms of health, there are various areas, from being your physical area, in terms of your physical fitness, your emotional fitness, mental, and very importantly, all these three areas amalgamate and revolve. So if one area is not functioning properly, you'll find something else sliding. So we need to keep all these three areas balanced as best as we can. So keeping fit in the best possible way, I'm sure we've found ways by now in terms of walking, yoga, tai chi, what have you. Emotional health, taking charge of your emotions, not getting involved with everything that is going on in your life. Learn to switch off, learn to step aside. It's time for you to move on and let others deal with issues that they have to deal with, rather than you getting involved all the time. A third area is staying stress-free mentally, not to overthink. Even if there are times when you're sitting down quietly and looking out of a window, learn to train your mind to be blank, not to keep thinking about various issues, problems, and how to solve it. One of the things that I found in my life, and I'm sure many of you have found this, that If you stop thinking about a problem, solutions come up naturally when you are not forcing the issue at hand. And this happens time and again. You get this feeling of a eureka kind of feeling. And this is something extremely important. So rather than trying to force a solution, just leave it be for some time, and you suddenly find answers coming out the way it should be. Very importantly, poor mental health is a risk factor for chronic physical conditions and vice versa. So, for example, depression increases the risk for many types of physical health problems, particularly long lasting conditions like diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. So, in other words, our mental health, physical and emotional health tied in together needs to be kept in balance so that we can lead a happy and healthy life. The second area of concern for all of us this year is our relationships, the quality of our relationships, our personal relationships, parenting and family, and the commitments that we have, and social life, which at this point of time is very important. So you need to find a balance in terms of family and friends. And it's very important to spend time with like minded people. There's a saying which we all know that you can't choose your family, but you can choose your friends. So those of us who are in a difficult situation, say family wise, you'll find many a time that there's a couple of good friends that you can spend time with, and you actually lead a happier life, because that's very important. So you need to find these sort of people in your life in order to enrichen your personal relationships. Now, personal relationships just doesn't relate to family and social life. It relates to everybody that you meet, anybody and everybody that you pass in the morning when you're walking, even with a slight smile. It's your relationships with, say, grade 4 staff, with your staff who are working for you or with you in the house. It's your relationship, say, with somebody who comes to clean the toilets, for example. So, how you build a happy relationship with anybody and everybody who comes into your life is the key to remaining happy. So there's no point in being, the point is just being happy with your family and friends is not the main thing. It's not the main ingredient, because there are other people involved in your personal life. And these are the people who are equally important. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to survive without them. The third area, for example, is your material life. Now, most of us have gone through our careers or maybe coming towards the end of it. So at this point of time, there should be a feeling of satisfaction. You've achieved, you've done the things you've wanted to do. Financially, you're stable. Materially, you've got things that you want, but there are things you want beyond that. So as long as your financial life is stable, there's so much more that you can achieve personally from now onwards, and that is what you need to look at. Fourth area is your spiritual life, and this is what we look at from now onwards. In terms of character building, have we come to the stage where we are happy with ourselves as individuals? Are we happy with the quality of life that we are living, and the things that we are doing? Do we have a life purpose and a vision? And you do need to have a purpose. Everybody needs one. Your purpose can be, I don't know, for example, say feeding a couple of dogs every day. Your purpose can be helping XYZ person out. So you need to have a purpose, a vision to make your life meaningful. In terms of goal setting for the next 5 to 10 years, planning is extremely important. And we need to follow 5 steps. The first one is the actual goal. Where do you want to be? Where do I want to be? Where am I going with this? The second one is your purpose. Why do I want to be there? So where is for your goal, The purpose is why. Why do I want to be there? The third one is reality. Where am I right now? Am I going to be able to go towards my goal? So you need to look at where you are presently. The fourth one is you do need a strategy. How are you going to get there? How are you going to get there? And lastly, how are you going to celebrate when you get there? Now, the celebration is an extremely important part of our emotions. It's very important. So we talk about a goal, we talk about purpose, we talk about the reality in terms of getting towards our goal. We have to have a strategy or several strategies in order to get there. And once we're there, how are you going to celebrate? That's very important. Our aim is to live an intense and extraordinary life. This is a beautiful sentence that I've come across, and it would be great if you can write it down. Our aim is to live an intense and extraordinary life. So what does it mean to live an extraordinary life? An extraordinary life touches lives, it inspires, it leaves the world a better place. And that's what we have to do, all of us. Extraordinary living doesn't happen by accident. It is by design, by the way. It is a deliberate act of rising to meet your challenges from the power of knowing who you are, what you are here to do, and what you want from and for the world. So let's go through this statement again. An extraordinary life touches lives, you inspire, and you leave the world a better place. Extraordinary living doesn't happen by accident. It is a deliberate act of rising to meet your challenges from the power of knowing who you are, what you are here to do, and what you want from and for the world. How do you make an extraordinary life is the next question. There are several things that I've given here. You can volunteer for a cause. Volunteer work can be one of the most satisfying and life-changing experiences we can ever have. You learn to accept yourself as you are. Fulfill a passion. If it's deep sea diving or snorkeling or singing or mountain climbing, fulfill a passion that you've wanted to do all this time and not found the time to do. Forgiving somebody. There's no point in going through the next 20 years of our life with grudges inside us. So learning to forgive is very important. You'll find yourself healing immediately. Writing a personal mission statement. All companies, organizations have a personal mission statement. I don't see why individuals can't have one. So this is something you can work out for yourself in the next couple of days. Always keeping your word, so honoring your word. If you've said you're going to do something, stick to it. And taking up a creative pursuit. Could be something from art to pottery to anything that makes you want to fulfill a passion. What makes a person extraordinary? These sort of people have wisdom and a way of being that inspires and commands respect. They energize you with their wisdom and empathy. So these are the qualities we need to develop: wisdom and empathy. We need to be able to inspire. We need to be able to command respect. You want them to be your friends. So in other words, people who are extraordinary, we want to be around them. So you want them to be your friend, your neighbor, your co-worker, manager, mentor, or a community leader. And this is the exercise that we're going to do right now, hence the paper and pencil. This is called the Wheel of Life. There are various areas here. Some of them may apply to you, may not. So let's start with certain areas which people have done in the past. For example, somebody wanted to be a sports leader, community leader. You as a friend, your career, your work, health, your partnerships in terms of your relationships personally, your relationships with your family, your parents, being a manager, a colleague, and a team member. And if you look at this circle, it's divided up equally. If you look at the ratio has been divided up equally. And I'm going to explain to you right now how we're going to work on this. When you're stressed and overloaded, it's easy to lose sight of other important parts of your life. This is when you need to step back and look at the big picture. The wheel of life can help you think about each area of your life and for you to figure out where it might be off balance. So that's what we're going to look at in the wheel of life. The wheel of life is a picture of your life as it is now and as you'd like it to be. Each area of your life is one spoke of the wheel which we've just seen. Could be different things. You don't have necessarily have to have the same things that are here. So we are going to draw one for ourselves. And what I'd like you to do is to begin by thinking of 6 to 8 dimensions of your life that are important to you. 6 to 8 dimensions that are important to you. These might include your role as a parent, as a friend, your health, etc. And once you've made your list, write each item out on a separate spoke. So let's start with making a list. If you make a list of 6 to 8 areas which you want to work on this year, for example, and which are important to you, you definitely need to start with your role as a parent, a friend, and your health. These 3 areas are extremely important. And I'm going to go to the next slide. I'll come back to this one. I showed you this earlier just to give you some ideas. For example, you may want to improve your sleep hygiene, or you may want to find a hobby that you want to work on. You may want to focus on your relationships, or perhaps, take up to music or declutter your homes. You may want to improve your breathing techniques, which we do need to do, or improve your meditation time. Maybe you would like to reduce negative self-talk or take up yoga or anything like that, or creating a 5-year plan. So these are just some ideas for you in case you can't figure out what you want at this point of time. I'm going to go back to the previous screen. So if you've made a list of 6 to 8 areas, I'd like you to draw a circle, not a very small one, a medium-sized circle on your sheet of paper. And then divide the circle up as you saw in this picture into 6 to 8 areas. Proportionately, we're not talking about being artistic. So as best as you can, if you can draw out 6 to 8 areas. And once you've done, split your circle up into 6 to 8 areas, you then write out from your list, just write out the whatever you have decided for yourself. So for example, if you've got health, you can put health in wherever you like. If you've got being a good parent or whatever, put that in. Relationships with your partner, and anything else that you may have decided that you want to work on this year. I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that. So I'm assuming you've drawn your circle. I'm assuming that you've managed to divide it up into 6 to 8 areas. And I'm assuming that you've started writing, labeling those 6 to 8 areas. Let's carry on. Now, the next step is to assess how much time and attention you are actually giving to each dimension. So let's use a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 means you're ignoring it presently and 10 means it dominates your life. Okay? So I'm repeating that again. 0 to 10 is the scale you're going to be using. 0 means that you are at present not really working on it. 10 means that it at this point of time plays a very important part in your life. So if you could go back to the spokes on your wheel and mark out, if you notice on this wheel over here, this picture, right at the edge, you've got a number 10 on each spoke. Okay. You're going to mark out where you are on that spoke. So if you come into the center of the spoke, which is 0, supposing we talk about you as a friend, for example, okay? The person here who's done this particular picture has given himself or herself a 5. So halfway down the spoke. If you look at this person's career and work, again, it's a 5. If you look at this person's health, it's good. So he's probably about 8, he or she. In terms of partnerships, this person is probably about 6. So they may want to improve themselves. In terms of being a good parent, he or she feels that they've not been able to do a justice to this. So they've given themselves a 5, which is halfway from 0 to 10. In terms of work as a manager, this person feels that he's been pretty good, he or she, and they've given probably come up to about 7.5 or 8. As a colleague, he's deteriorated and he's gone down from even below 5, he's come down to about 3.5. So in other words, he thinks he's been a good manager in the past, but he's a pretty dreadful colleague and needs to work on it. In terms of being a team member, from 0 to 10, he's obviously down on the scale over here, because if he's not been able to be a good colleague, he obviously hasn't worked as a good team member. So again, likewise, he's probably given himself 3.5 or so. As a sports player, he's up there at 10. He's obviously a sports fanatic and enjoys whatever he's doing. In terms of being a community leader, he's not given too much, just enough. So he's at 6. And depending on where you are and what you have written, I'd like you to try and mark yourselves first initially from 0 to 10 on each spoke, and then try and develop the grid, that you have within your circle. I hope you have a large enough circle to make out what you're doing. Now, in terms of this person and the picture that we have over here, and this is going to help you to understand what you have in front of you. As I mentioned, he keeps fit, he or she, because he's able to play very actively, whatever games and sports he's into. In terms of his relationships, he's pretty good, maybe with his spouse, etc. As a parent, he feels he's failed and is just on borderline. As a manager, because now something has given way here. So if you look at this, he thinks he's a good manager, but he's not managed to be a good enough parent. This is important for you to understand. So in other words, this individual has given more time to his workspace and work life than he actually has to the other part of his life, which is a very important part of your life. He's not done justice to that area. And likewise, being a good manager is really not anything great, because as a colleague and as a team player, he or she is not really developed themselves. So it's a very interesting picture of somebody who is good in certain things and is given priority to himself. But in terms of relationships, whether it's as a parent or as a team member or as a colleague, the person has not really been able to do justice to this in his life. So as one says, it's better late than never. There's time for you and me to improve ourselves if we wish to do so. As a friend, again, he's only on 5, he or she. And in terms of giving back to the community, just a little bit more. So it's quite an interesting picture over here of a person who has, developed himself in certain areas, but is still very mediocre in certain things, certain aspects of their life. In terms of his career and work, he's not really achieved much. So he's, still at borderline at 5. Team player. You have to have all these things going for you before you can be satisfied in your world of work. I'm taking the world of work as an example. There could be something else on your sheet of paper. So in other words, all these things are interrelated. Nothing is just left on its own. There's never a right answer. And the goal is not to make a perfect circle. This is very important for you to understand. It's the idea of doing this exercise is for you to understand how much of attention you are giving to each part of your life. And that's why plotting these scores in a diagram helps you visualize the kind of things that are going for you at this point of time. And once you begin to realize that, I've helped you to analyze this person's picture. So you should be able to analyze yours. It's time for you to take action. That's where we come into point number 5. You need to learn to design some goals for yourself that will help you focus more on what's important for you. Check out neglected areas as well. And things that take up too much of your time, why are you spending so much of time on it? What can you do to regain some balance? And balance is the key. We talk about moderation in life, moderation in terms of eating, in terms of exercise, in terms of sleep. This is what it's about. It's a balancing act that we're constantly doing. So making a commitment to these actions by writing them down and starting right away is what's important for you. For more information about the Wheel of Life and how to complete one. It's an interactive tool. You can, this has definitely not been invented by me. It's a mind tool. The organization is Mind Tools. And basically it's by a company called Emerald Works. And the tool that they've developed is the Wheel of Life. We've done this picture. This is a lovely video before I finish my talk. It's a little long, one of my favorite ones. It was played first at the Atlanta Olympics, many, many years ago, and was sung by Whitney Houston. The singer over here is a lady called Dana Winner. And basically, the title of the song is Give Me One Moment in Time. And it's very significant for each one of us at this point of time. So I'd like you to listen to it. I hope you can hear this.
Yes, we can hear.
Each day I live, I want to be a day to give the best of me. I'm only one, but not alone. My finest day is yet unknown. I broke my heart for every game to taste the sweet. I faced the pain. I rise and fall, yet through it all, this much remains. I want one moment in time when I'm more than I thought I could be, when all of my dreams are a heartbeat away, and the answers are all up to me. Give me one moment in time when I'm racing with destiny. Then in that one moment of time, I will feel eternity. I've lived to be the very best, and I want it all. No time for less. I've laid my plans, now laid a chance here in my hands. Give me one moment in time
Amazing, excellent presentation. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Let me just pause this. No. Stop share.
Give me one moment in time. We're now at 5:45 almost, and I think you've answered all questions. We've got one question, and I've got another one which somebody sent me. Let me look at the question that has come here. This is Mr. K. Rao. He says, the wife of my closest friend, who's an excellent gentleman of 73, behaves so nasty with him and ill-treats him to the worst. She hates all his good friends. Does she hate him? But anyway, not jokes apart. Despite his giving her whatever she wants, including lakhs of rupees, she is not satisfied. Over the last 1 year, she is staying away from my friend, visiting their daughters living outstation. Any amount of counseling and treatment, there's no improvement. I feel so bad thinking of the fate of my friend. We friends are so scared of visiting his house, as she would start cursing our friend in our presence. Is there a way out of this, ma'am? Yes.
No, there is no way out, because it's actually a catch-22 situation. The main problem here is to figure out why this lady hates him and why she feels she's stuck in this marriage. If she really didn't love this person, they could have separated a long time ago. So we need to find out why they're still together and why he has remained with this situation. A lot of people feel comfortable in these unhappy situations because they don't know what else to do. One is scared, when you move out of a known given. So there are various things, but one thing I would suggest to you as a friend is it doesn't matter how much she curses him. You need to be there for him, and you need to let him know that you're there. And that's very important, because you're a lifeline, like Amitabh Bachchan has in Kaun Banega Crorepati. You are lifelines. So the number of friends that he has backing him and helping him out, even if you can spend a couple of minutes a day, that's what's important. More than that, she obviously needs help. And the only way we can do it is maybe her children could have done something about this also, but they've obviously chosen not to. They've allowed the situation to ride.
Absolutely. So there's one question that has come in is to how do we ensure that we stick to our resolutions? That's $1 million question, I know.
$1 million question. I think start with one thing at a time, rather than trying to do everything. And the moment you've come to grips with one thing, remember I was talking about changing it into a habit, not just to make a resolution, but actually changing a habit. So if you can create a new habit, and once you're in control of that, then go on to the next thing. But you still need to do a balancing act.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for being here, and for this very good presentation. The very fact that you've had, we started off with 35 people here, and most of them have stuck around. So it just shows that, the presentation was very engaging, and people have appreciated it. And, we should have one more. You have to come for number 14. Session number 14.
That's if you want me back. You'll have to ask
We want you back. Thank you very, very much for this, and thank you all for being here. We wish you a very happy year ahead, and we will be back once again next Saturday at 5 p.m. for another session of Health Live at Seniors Today. And those of you who are interested in attending the health webinars, you can always pre-register. The link is there ahead on this chat window as I speak. You can do that. Plus, there are a host of other sessions that we have through the week, so you can always attend them. There's Seniors Have Talent, which is starting its 10th season number 10, starting on January 18. So those of you who can sing or who would like, who know friends, etc., who can sing well, please ask them to register. Once again, the registration link is there as on the chat window, so you can refer to that. Thank you once again, all of you, and thank you, Dr. Das, for being here again.
Thank you. Pleasure being here. Thank you.
Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.